where visionaries, entrepreneurs, and artists dream, transform, and create. You are listening to the Miracle Moment podcast, where your breakthrough is a moment away. I'm your host, Irelan. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Miracle Moment. I'm your host, Irelan, and I'm here with guest Alok Appadurai, and he is the founder, CEO of Uplift Millions, a global coaching company for results-driven leaders who value people, planet, and profit. So this is going to be an incredible conversation. Alok and I first connected years ago when I was touring with my band and we were looking for, do you remember this?
Oh my God, yes.
Alok, we have to start here. So I was touring with my band and we were like a jammy roots, psychedelic bluegrass band. And we somehow got connected to Alok because he had an incredible company for, if I remember correctly, it was like hemp, like really well-sourced materials.
Sustainable custom printed merchandise. Yeah.
There we go. There's the line. And so that's how we first got connected. Meanwhile, years go by, I end up getting into the coaching space. So does he. And now, I've seen him grow and expand. He's actually a mentor of some really dear friends of mine. And I just totally look up to this guy. He's an incredible leader. So to give a little bit more backstory before we bring him on, he's also a Wall Street Journal best-selling author of Maximum Impact Potential. He has built 4 social impact companies, given TEDx talks on feeding 500,000 meals to people in need. He won gold for best business ebook at the American Business Awards. I mean, literally this goes on and on. He's coached over 600 clients, has closed over 8 figures in deals, has 30 years of experience in sales and brand growth. Oh my goodness. Let's get him on. And also, most important, I think he would probably agree, he's also the proud father to Sequoia and partner to Caitlin.
That's a tall bill I got to live up to.
Oh yeah. Yep. So high stakes here on the Miracle Moment podcast today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So give us the short version of how did you get here? Because the guy that I met years ago, and we really just met online, so it was pretty brief, was very different than this guy that I'm now talking to right now, which I'm sure is very different from even the you that was 20 years ago. So what was this journey like?
Yeah, I think the threads were the same, right? Which is a commitment to people, planet, profit, living a life that makes a difference in the world, right? So that's been a thread that's been common, but you are so right. Oh, what an evolution. Every year, every month, every week, even those of you listening, you have the opportunity to have a miracle by the end of this conversation that can absolutely change the trajectory of your life. So for me, it's been a journey of building over the last 20 years, social impact companies. I've had successes. I fall down on my face. It's been an absolute adventure of the best kind. 2016 ended up losing everything, literally everything. Had to take care of my son in a one-room studio, no car, could barely put food on the table. And it was that turning point moment of like, what the heck just happened? How could I give so fully of my heart and soul and all my resources? And yet there I was. And that led to birthing a new direction for myself, which led to the birth of Uplift Millions, which is our company today, and all the things that you read about. But really, it was the come into G's moment back in 2016 to learn. And I'd say to everybody listening, raise your hand and ask for help.
I love that. I'm always fascinated when I'm talking with other leaders that had their rock bottom come to their knees moment around the same time that I did, because I had my big car accident that I talk about. That was my near-death suicide attempt that really spiritually woke me up in the end of 2015. So it was such an interesting portal right there. I know so many other leaders that have been just they went through that time and now are really doing incredible work. And so I know that you have this huge mission of empowering 10 million wealth circulators who are making the world a better place. So what is a wealth circulator, first of all?
There's three progressions I've found in the world of entrepreneurship, and particularly for those of us that live in the world of social impact entrepreneurship, right? Meaning we're not just interested in how much money can we stack up, right? And we actually want to do stuff that creates a legacy of impact for current and future generations. So if you think the way that I think, and I imagine if you're listening to Ray's podcast here, you're probably in this zone, right? For me, there's three phases. One, there's wealth generation. Then there's wealth accumulation, and then there's wealth circulation. And, most people talk a lot about the first two, right? Look how much money I earned and look how much money I accumulated, right? Mm-hmm. And I want to pose the idea that this third identity, we call it the new black, right? It's like wealth circulator is the new black. It's the cool thing. It's where the cool kids are hanging out. But being a wealth circulator is somebody who says, how can I be someone in the world? And I truly believe, Ray, that every company, every community, every household, every nonprofit needs at least one wealth circulator. Okay. Mm-hmm. This is the person who has a superpower. It is a really special superpower. They can move flows of capital. Mm-hmm. So if you look in a household or a community or a company that does not have a wealth circulator, it's obvious. Mm-hmm. It will fall apart. It will underperform. It'll struggle, right? And so now the only question is, will you be a wealth circulator for good, right? Or will you just keep circulating wealth in the old ways of how things have been done? So, I want to let everybody know out there, begin to embrace a new identity. Who would you be by the end of listening to this conversation if you began to say, I am a wealth circulator? Even right now as you're listening, just say it in your mind. I'm going to stop talking for 5 seconds. How did it feel in your body to begin to just go, yeah, I'm a wealth circulator. I don't want to just accumulate for my own benefit. How can I be someone who moves flows of capital for the benefit of the collective? Mm-hmm. Super powerful question.
It's so amazing. So I have a women's group that meets down in San Diego once a month, and we're called the San Diego Women's Entrepreneur Collective. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because we just had a speaker last week, and it was all about regenerative business. Sure. And I hadn't heard this term yet. I had heard sustainable business, but we had this conversation around how as a sustainable business, that means you're just sustaining what is needed to make it by. So what would it actually look like? And the speaker, she gave an incredible image for us to play with, which is, if we're a wheel, our business or ourselves as a leader, we're the wheel, or if you're a wealth circulator, you're a wheel. That means, you're kind of creating that energy. Your clients are helping fuel it. You're fueling it back into your business, your home, your family. But what if you actually bring multiple wealth circulators into one room and turn that wheel into a gear? And that's where things kind of shift into regenerative business, where you really are giving back to the larger community, and the wheel actually can be shifting and changing and moving and generating energy through other gears. So I know that you're a huge community person. You just put on this incredible event. And so what is your perspective around how, if we come together, how can we make even more of an impact? Can you speak to this a little bit?
Yeah, I love the term, that concept of regenerative business. For me, one of the, speaking of the Uplift Millions Live that we just did in July, I shared a concept there called regenerative philanthropy. And so an example of this is what I call 0% interest infinity lending loops for women. And one of my big pillars in my lifetime is to create $1 billion of 0% interest loans for women entrepreneurs around the world. And what happens when you do that is you inject that capital in one time, but then it turns over and over and over and over again. And you create a true infinity loop of giving, right? So $1 turns into $10 of empowerment over time. It's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And so I love this idea that you're sharing. And when people get together, I mean, first of all, when you think about the mastermind concept, which historically was always just for how do we make more money? But when you apply that brain trust to how do we create quantum levels of impact, wow, now you've got a fascinating conversation where money really is just the lifeblood of impact. I want everybody to know that. And so when you build a business that is based on these ideas, it's what we call blue zone leadership, right? The old way was, women are expendable, Black people are expendable, nature's expendable, as long as you make money at all costs, right? Profit at all costs. And I truly believe that entrepreneurs are now getting together and using their brain trust to begin to say, sure, like I live in my dream house, I have a dream car. Yeah. But I'm also making more impact than I've ever made in my 20-year career. So when you leverage that collective brain trust of other entrepreneurs that are thinking in this blue zone mentality, right? From red zone to blue zone, It's like, woo, anything's possible.
Oh, it's so good. And I know that you had shared with me that you grew up in choir as a young boy. I know this feels like super left field, but I think, like as someone else that also did choir in middle school, there is this experience of harmony that can happen with multiple people. And so I'm really seeing that. And I think it's so fascinating because I know a lot of entrepreneurs that also, played a role in the arts or sports, they had that team mentality. So bringing that into the entrepreneurial space, which is kind of has this thing about being, I'm the one, like the upper dog, and I'm the one, I have to win, I have to get to the top, that competitive thing. I think there's just such a valuable lesson to learn from the arts and sports and things like that to really, how can we bring that into our communities and our businesses?
It's such an amazing point, the harmony, right? And you certainly know when there's disharmony in a choir.
Like, you can feel it. You don't even want to be in that room.
I mean, you're just like, stop now. Put these people out of their misery, right?
Yeah.
And likewise, I think the same is true in business. And so, getting back to our Uplift Millions Live, the event, my team was like, look, why are you inviting all of your competition to come to this event? Right. And for anyone who knows, these events are incredibly, incredibly big investments. Right. And so the old way of doing things would be you're the top dog. Don't let any other, wolves into the hen house or whatever they call it, foxes in the hen house. You want it all for yourself. And I made a different decision, Ray. I said, I want the highest caliber room I can create with the most powerful impact-led leaders that I can create. And if that means bringing my quote unquote competition into the room, knowing that they will walk out with mega deals.
Yeah.
Okay? That's how they're built, because they're built like me, right? I walk in a room and I don't have to sell. I will close. Okay. It just happens. It's by the nature of who I am. And so my commitment was, and I told everybody that, literally said, I've built this room to be the highest caliber, not out of scarcity, but out of abundance. So when we move from the whole old idea of even competition, right? Like that's just an antiquated idea. That's an idea rooted in lack, that there's not enough customers for everybody. Because I tell you, the magic in that room, and by the way, Danielle told you it was different because it was like a plant ceremony mixed with a leadership summit, mixed with Chris Rock comedy show. I mean, it was out there. It was amazing. Totally out there. But the root of it was the most loving room I've ever been in.
Wow.
It was the most loving room I've ever been in. When we remove that competition, that old paradigm, and we say, let's co-create some absolute magic. I got chills right now just feeling it.
So good. So I'm assuming that would probably be one of the qualities that, if you are in that mentality, in that mind space of really removing and deleting the experience of competition and really going into that collaborative space, that would be a quality of a wealth circulator. Are there any other qualities? And so that way people that are listening can kind of self-identify, even maybe, I don't know if there's like, closet wealth circulators, but like, let's bring them out. Who are these people?
Yeah, and I want to talk about a couple pieces here, right? So within wealth circulation, I'd say one of the older ideas, even within the world of social impact entrepreneurs or mission-led, or however you call yourself, purpose-driven entrepreneurs, right? Those of us that are using business as a vehicle of change. The old idea was always, great, I want to run my business so that I can earn enough, and then I can start donating to the nonprofits that I care about, right? Mm-hmm. By the way, that's an amazing idea. I do that every month. I plant 4,000 trees a month to offset my carbon footprint. I end blindness for people every month. I fund zero interest loans for women entrepreneurs around the world. Okay, great. But there's a key piece here that form of circulation actually is a very small percentage of your circulatory power. So I want all of you to begin to think about that. The bulk of it will be coming through job creation. So one of the things I want you to start noticing is you'll start noticing, particularly in our industry, right, the coaching industry, you'll notice people put posts up that's like, my accountant is so impressed with me because I made all this money and I have no team, right? Mm-hmm. My accountant's so impressed with me. Look how lean I run my company and I make so much money, right? Mm-hmm. Which is, we know, phenomenal indulgent marketing, because everybody and their mother wants to get as much money with as little effort and as little team.
Right.
That's not an aspiration I have at all. I love job creation. I love helping somebody be able to have a respectful, dignity-filled way to provide for their household. And you know what that does? That starts moving more money in their communities and their economies. And you know what that does? That reduces crime rates. It increases education levels. It increases public health rates. It increases economies, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to ask yourself, do you want to be that old model that just says, look how much money I made for myself and my accountant's so impressed with me because I just make lots of money and I don't hire anybody? Or do you want to start saying to yourself, because in my book right now, I would say 90% of my wealth circulation is through job creation. Last year was the first year in my entire 20-year career where I circulated 7 figures to other humans. Over $1 million went to other humans. I've never done that in my life. Yeah. So for any of you listening out there, it's not just about building a 7-figure business. Why don't you feel into the moment where you circulate $1 million to other humans? I tell you, that's a really small club. Mm-hmm. It's a really small club who start actually building organizations that create jobs and possibility. People don't want charity. They want possibility. They want opportunity. Mm-hmm. So if you're out there, I would challenge you, how can you begin to build your business to the value of other people, not just your clients, right?
Yeah.
So listen in, tune in. And some people out there, you might not want a team, and that's okay. I'm not judging you for that. But maybe you're hiring other forms of team, right? I've got a team that are direct and I've got a team that's indirect, right? But so I would just start asking yourself, like, what are my wealth circulation goals? Oh, wow. Oh, he just mentioned circulating $1 million in one calendar year to other humans. What does that feel like? Because it feels amazing. And it is different. No one ever told me, Ray, to think about what would your circulation goals look like. They say, how much do you want to donate to nonprofits? Okay, cool. Right? But
here's this bucket.
That's right. And it's just one bucket. Mm-hmm. It's just one. And actually, it's a pretty small bucket of self-circulation. The job creation and how you move monies in other ways that empower people to have livelihoods, game changing. Absolutely game changing. And the ripple effects. Like, people say, we want women to have more opportunity. I'm like, great, build a firm that gives women more opportunity. How about that?
Right.
Don't point the finger one way. When are they going to change over there? Why don't you build something with a corporate DNA of the very thing that you got a problem with in the world? Try that on. Mm-hmm. Let's circulate, be the one who can command enough money and be a rainmaker that can move that money through. Awesome. And now you can scale not just your own earnings, which, by the way, will continue to grow. That's the wild part.
Right.
Unlike the old days where you had to feel like you were sacrificing. No. It actually circulates more to you when you do it this way. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. It's the exponential wealth for
Woo!
everyone. Yeah.
Because there's no lack. There's
So
no lack.
powerful.
So set your goals, as you're recalibrating, maybe some of you are already going, oh, no wonder I was struggling in my business because I actually didn't have the right alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you out there listening might go, well, Circulator, I'm being one of those in a big way. And now that might remove some of the blocks or the hesitations that you might have been experiencing, because maybe there's something inside of you that was like, I don't like the old way. I don't like what I see on social media where everybody's just like, I'm making shit tons of money, blah, 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 blah. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, good. Maybe now you have a new identity, right? Oh, I'm going to be the most epic wealth circulator that I possibly can be, right? Maybe you start setting a goal for yourself. I mean, this is how I think. It's like I want to be in the top 100 wealth circulators in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea. Maybe, but some of you out there might go, ooh, that just unlocked everything for me.
Yeah, here we go. Now I have the fire. Now I have the alignment.
That's right.
And then that's where that deep, true, authentic motivation can kick in and really just light the way. And then the universe steps in, you take one step, the universe will meet you. So this is just such a great conversation.
It's like finding a bottleneck, right? In my case,
Mm-hmm.
for me, and this is not a right, wrong thing, but when I was just building my personal brand, Alok Appadurai, I couldn't figure out why I had a misalignment going on. And this is not right, wrong. Please, everybody hear this. I'm not saying don't build personal brands, but I had a hard time hiring team to just, jump up and down about Alok Appadurai because I don't want to be anybody's guru.
Totally.
Right? And as soon as I birthed in my creative imagination, Uplift Millions, and that done, bottleneck gone,
Mm-hmm.
the team materialized like this, everything skyrocketed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's just finding that one little shift. And for some of you, maybe emerging from this talk as a wealth circulator as your core identity, woo, let it light your fire.
Yes, take it all the way because this is really, this is such a revolutionary conversation. And especially in the space of coaching, you gave that example of, oh, my accountant's so happy. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could already, I don't have enough fingers to count how many people I've seen post that. And right. I never questioned it before. So I really appreciate you bringing that new perspective here. And I think I totally agree that it can be a huge bottleneck and unlock so much. And we talk a lot about soul alignment on this show. And so if this is firing something in your soul, like follow that through, take some time after this call to really sit down and find yourself some quietness or a pen and paper and really reflect who would I be as a wealth circulator?
Did you hear what she just said? Who would I be? Mm-hmm. I want you all to know the rocket fuel is in the evolution of your beingness. Okay? She didn't say, what would you do? Okay? Please listen to what she just said. That was amazing guidance right there. Who would you be if you embraced being a wealth circulator? Because the doing will emerge. And watch what starts changing in how you run your business when you come from this identity versus basically the me identity, the wealth generator, right? Yeah. Which really, you got to be that. Like, believe you me, don't go sitting there talking a big game. I run a multiple 7-figure company at this point, heading to 8 figures, right? Like, you got to be the generator first.
Yeah.
You got to be able to accumulate some of it second in order to be this thing, the holy grail, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not naysaying it. Please, everybody hear this. You got to master generation and accumulation in order to join the pantheon of the circulators.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like even just putting on that identity as a circulator would actually probably make the experience of being a generator even more rapid, smooth, aligned.
Rocket fuel. Mm-hmm. Rocket fuel. Literally, because now when people start hearing your message, like when people hear me talk, like, yes, I have the signs that some people would look at, right? I'm in a fancy house, I drive, all the things. You're never going to hear me going, Oh my God. I mean, every once in a while, just because my audience does need to know that we actually achieve some results in our company, you know? But at this point, I now attract people that earn so much more than me. Mm-hmm. You know, I've got clients that are 8-figure clients because they know that that I'm talking about things that they don't do and they don't be, right? So yes, y'all, as you step into this identity, if you really can embrace it, it's, you know, because some people say, well, look, isn't this like socialism? I'm not talking about social. I'm just talking about the ability for you to have the superpower. So your family is fully abundant and you're uplifting everybody else around you too. Yeah. Powerful, powerful identity.
It is. So for those that want to continue to follow you and your work, where can they find you online?
Yeah, you can just go to upliftmillions.com or hit me on any of the socials. Come climb in my DMs, and there's a question that I can answer or give back to you, or maybe you got a crossroads moment, you're not sure which direction, you just want me to tune into source and listen on your behalf. I'd be happy to give you my intuitive hit just right there in the DMs. You don't have to sit there and hire me for that or anything like that. Just come ask me a big crossroads question. I'm happy to begin to dive into that. So either through the website or on any of my socials.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. And yeah, and if anyone that's listening, you know, has any comments or does go and actually, you know, take our suggestion of taking some time and feeling into this, send us messages, leave a comment on the podcast. Let us know how it feels to listen to this and to try this identity on, to make your mind and say, okay, this is who I'm becoming as of right now.
So good. And please, if you have a big aha, like definitely hit it in the podcast notes. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this, but come hit me in the DMs. Like, yeah, I want to hear what changed. Please don't keep it to yourself. It's a huge gift to me to hear what transformed in your life as a result. So thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being on here, Alok. Such a pleasure to talk with you today. Thank you to everyone that has been listening, and we will see you next time on The Miracle Moment.
And my final thought is y'all will become miracle creators when you become a wealth circulator, y'all. Miracle creators.
That's it, folks. See you next time. Thanks for checking out this video. Subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't yet, so you can stay up to date for new episodes coming out soon. And remember to witness and acknowledge the miracles and magic in every moment. This is Irelan, and I'll see you soon.